Okay, everybody. Jamie Lambert is back on the podcast. We are going to be talking about the Appalachian Trail. If you're somebody that has been interested in hiking the AT, this is going to be an episode to check out. Warning, people that love the AT, you're not going to like this episode, probably. But, hey, it's just one person's opinions. The world's got to have all types of people, right? Jamie gives her account of her AT journey and what it's like to be a triple crowner. She has done the AT, the CDT, and the PCT. So we get into how the trail compares and contrasts, and she kind of takes us through a journey starting at, I think it's Springer Mountain, all the way to Katahdin. And then we kind of talk about maybe a little announcement for some new trails in 2026 that each of us might do. So, this is a great episode. Love chopping it up with Jamie. Let's get into it.
Jamie, we love having you on the Peanut Butter Mountains podcast. It's always great talking with you. Not just Curtis, but other people also say they love having you on.
Oh, good.
And so, all right, I'm going to start off with the first question that will be very easy for you to answer, I bet you.
Thank you. Don't put me on the spot.
Exactly. So, okay. So the AT, right? You just got off a few months ago, you got off the AT, right?
Yeah, September.
And you are officially a triple crowner. So congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
What's your opinion of the AT, Jamie? What's your unhinged opinion? Unhinged.
Were
Were you like one day away from tattooing your neck?
Yeah. One spiral away from tattooing my neck. I love the AT. No. It was absolutely terrible. But like,
okay,
I know I'm gonna
now
get
hold
so
on
much
before
hate.
you start. Remember what we had to do with the CDT podcast, the first one, right?
Yes.
Okay, so make sure we're not doing that with this one.
No, we're not going to. I'm prepared for this
Okay.
one. Like I said, when you're like, hey, when can we talk about it? I'm like, I need a little bit of time to process and like, coming off of a trail, it's, how do you talk about it when it's so fresh? But the AT, no, it was a wild ride, to say the least.
Ride.
Growing up here in Washington State, it's like I have not done any sort of hiking over on the East Coast.
Mhm.
I mean, I've always known and heard about it. It's just the terrain, the humidity, the rain, all the things. But it's one thing to hear about it and one thing to like
For sure.
be in it hiking. I'm like, this is absolutely terrible. Like, when you grow up on the West Coast, it's like you're so used to like the beautiful switchbacks up the trails. You get like these epic views once you get to the top. It's just like, I can't describe how beautiful it is over here on the West Coast. But then over on the East Coast, I'm like, this is what you guys are used to? Like, this is normal? This is real? Like, no, I'm good. But I'm glad I did it. I'm glad that I was able to go over and experience the trail. Once again, like I said, I've never done any hiking. I've never been over to the East Coast. So to be able to walk through 14 different states and really get the gist of the East Coast, I can say the hiking aspect, terrible. But like the trail magic out there is so special. Okay. I mean, it's like unlike anything I've ever had before. The community around the AT, that's kind of where you find that beauty and the special that lies within the trail. But yeah, it was my friend Caleb and I that we hiked together. We would joke every day. It's like, we're fighting for our life out here. It's like every day it was always something. So it's just like, and the trail, it was like, once again, I always joked and say the trail's trying to kill me. It was always something every single day. Like, you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, today's going to be a good day, which it was. But something would always go wrong. Or you'd hit that point in the day where you're like, this is terrible. But for me, I'm one of those people where if I start something, I'm obviously going to finish it. I'm not.
Jamie is. She is. She's very driven. Yeah.
I'm not one that's going to start a trail and then quit. So, I don't even know how. I feel like there's a lot of things that happen on the trail that I just kind of like blacked out and just like you kind of get on that autopilot and just keep hiking.
Huh.
But yeah, I mean, we can kind of walk through the trail. So like in the beginning, when you first start a trail, it's like it takes a few weeks for you to get your trail legs, right? It's like, you kind of get back into that routine of, okay, this is how many miles I like to hike in the day. This is how long I like to hike before I take a break.
Yeah.
Setting up your tent for the first time, getting back into that little rhythm. So that always takes like a couple weeks to get into the hang of it. So yeah, once I started the trail, there was a lot of people. You get those little bubbles. But I have never really camped or been around the whole like shelter life, which the AT is really known for, is the shelters. So it was like anytime I'd come up on one, there'd be like 30 hikers, 30 tents. And it's that overwhelming feeling of like, oh my God, this is wild. Like I'm not used to this. I'm used to just like setting up my tent anywhere. So in the beginning, I definitely struggled I pushed bigger miles because I would get to a shelter and it'd be full. And then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I got to keep going. So then I'd keep going. So I struggled with that in the beginning, is just adapting to that. And then also like the time difference. I mean, being over on the West Coast, it's like the 3-hour time difference.
It's big.
So
three
it was like,
can be big. Yeah. 3 is big.
and I
Two's
didn't
fine,
really
it's like-
realize,
yeah.
I didn't really realize in the moment that it was a factor. But the first couple weeks on trail, like I couldn't sleep. It was like, I was tired. I'm doing 20 plus miles a day. Like I'm pushing myself physically, mentally, I'm tired. And I would like lay down to try and sleep at night. I'd fall asleep, but then I was just tossing and turning
Totally.
all night long. And then I'd wake up and be like, oh my God, I have to hike how many miles again? And I'd wake up and it'd be raining. And it was just kind of like you start to spiral a little bit of like, what am I doing? This is like kind of miserable right now.
For sure.
So yeah, that was early on. And then once I got into the Smokies, it snowed on me, which everyone kept saying it's, either normal or not normal to have weather like that. Everyone has a story about the Smokies, right? It's like something always happens. But I remember people saying, oh, it's so beautiful. It's great. It's this and that. And I'm like, it was miserable for me. It was so cold. Like I become the biggest baby when I'm cold. Like I don't do well in the cold. Not for me. So, Smokies was definitely cold. It's funny. It's like when I think back to the trail, I feel like there's like certain sections of the trail that I like blacked out. Like one, like just, I don't know. One, maybe because I hate to say it, maybe it was like boring.
Yeah.
But, where am I at in the trail in my brain? So kind of went through, Smokies. Virginia. Virginia would be like the next thing that comes to mind of, they always say the rite of passage for the AT is you have to get norovirus. Well, lucky me, I got the old norovirus.
So, okay. So I remember talking to Jamie like 3 days before this happened. And you're like, oh yeah, there's norovirus. We're like FaceTime.
No, it was the day before. Because I remember we were in the hotel room. It was the day before. And I was fine.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, there's this virus going around. Like, hope I don't get it. But like, everybody's getting down with it. Yeah, then like the next day, she shoots me a text. I'm fucked.
Yeah. So lucky me. When you start the trail, you see the little posters in the shelters, like norovirus, like, wash your hands.
So it's a common thing, like not just your year, but every year.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I can think of is one, because so many hikers like are around these shelters, around these certain areas, like once it spreads, it's like an outbreak. And one, you can't use hand sanitizer to kill it. You have to use like soap and water. And for me, I'm like, well, I don't carry soap with me. So it's like, how do you wash your hands? How do you stay clean? And I mean, it can be anything from the shelters, it can be the picnic tables, it can be the privies.
Really?
For
Wow.
me, I think it was a water source is the one thing that I can think of. Yeah, right in Virginia, it was near Daleville. There was a campsite. It would have been basically the day before I talked to you. So probably 2 days before I came down with the norovirus. There was a water source that my friend Boardwalk and I were camping at. And I remember like filtering my water, but then it's, when you're cleaning out like your pot and your fork and kind of washing off, I was washing off my feet and my hands, not really realizing that there was some toilet paper shoved up under next to the tree. So one, I don't know, someone went to the bathroom right there and it got in the water source. And then me, of course, washing my hands, like touching my mouth, my face, whatever. That's the only thing that I can think of because it hit fast. It was like, that was, gosh, I don't remember what day, but yeah, 2 days later, I was going to meet my friend Caleb for the first time. We've been trying to meet up the entire time on the trail, 700 miles. We finally like got on the same schedule. And I was walking into the restaurant and I started to like get that nauseous feeling. And when your mouth starts to water and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't going to be good. And you're like, oh man, I really don't feel good. And so I'm like sitting there in the restaurant and all the smells of the food are coming out. And it's like, oh God, okay, it's fine. Everything's fine. I'm just going to mentally like talk myself out of this. So we were sitting there and I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. I went in the bathroom. That was kind of like when the first little throw up happened. I shouldn't say little, it was bad. Went back out and it was like, I think I might have it. So luckily there was a hotel that was like 0.2 away. It was just right up the hill. So went in, checked into the hotel. And then as soon as I got into my room, it was just like the floodgates opened and it was game over. Like coming out both ends, just like I have never been that sick in my entire life.
Damn.
Like I like to think I'm a pretty tough, strong person, but that that took me down.
Wow. So for how long?
It was about 12 hours of hell.
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
So 12 hours, yeah, coming out both ends. It was like I couldn't even drink water. Like I just basically laid in bed. And anytime I like tried to move my head or anything, like I'd just start dry heaving. Yeah. I had nothing left in my stomach. So I was just throwing up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it got to the point where it was like, okay, that was about noon. And then midnight, I had like one last explosion and then nothing. But then what sucks with the norovirus is, because you've been throwing up so much, it's like you're so severely dehydrated that it's like now you need to try and get your fluids back up. And that's where a lot of hikers struggle with, especially if you're stuck out in the woods. Like, how do you get those electrolytes? How do you get the strength to get up and start hiking again? Luckily for me, yeah, I was in a very comfortable, nice, clean hotel.
Right.
But have you ever done one of those like at home IVs where they essentially come to you and give you an IV?
I have
you even heard of it?
What? No.
Yeah. So they're basically I don't know, they're probably all over, but everyone has a different name of what these companies are, but essentially you can call them. And I've had one done before. That's kind of how I came or thought of it when I was in the hotel is I'm like, I need to get fluids. And like, obviously I can't drink enough water or Gatorade or electrolytes to like replenish what I basically just put my body through. So I found this company in Roanoke that I don't know. They have some sort of nursing background, right? So I called her and I was like, hey, I'm hiking the AT. I just got norovirus. Like, I need some fluids. And she's like, girl, I got you. I know what you need. So I basically scheduled a time for them to come to the hotel room and they gave me an IV that had basically a bunch of electrolytes. I don't know if there was some like B vitamins And then she gave me some like Zofran because I was super nauseous. So
What
yeah,
the
I got
heck?
an IV, and I got an IV delivered to my hotel room.
I don't understand.
So
They put it in you there, like
yeah, yeah, it's like
how
a
much
full-on
does
IV.
what does this cost?
It cost me about $300.
Okay.
But think about this. One, it's cheaper than going to the emergency room or urgent care to get fluids.
Yeah.
And two, it was like I needed it. Like I was so sick and so dehydrated that I was like, I didn't even really care what it cost at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's also part of where every hiker is different with their budget when it comes to trail. It's like for me, I always like to save up extra because if there is a situation where I end up, in a hotel and have norovirus and I need an IV, I'm not going to second guess doing it.
Nice.
So yeah, it definitely wasn't cheap, but it was like my golden ticket to like getting back on trail.
How'd you feel right after it?
I mean, I definitely felt better. The nausea was still lingering, but I could definitely feel like, okay, I'm coming back to life a little bit more.
Wow.
So that was like the day after I got noro, and then I spent 2 more days in the hotel just because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give myself an extra day, just to really rest and recover. And that's always what's hard about the trail is like, you know what, like when you're hiking around certain people and then they get ahead, you feel like you're in this constant race, right? Where it's like, oh, they're ahead, I gotta catch up. It's like, no, these trails, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Like you have to take care of yourself, in order to reach basically the end goal. So for me, I'm glad I had the experience.
That's the key thing there, Jamie. And I think that's where your experience comes in is like, it is all about managing your body and your mind on the trails. And if you want to finish it, like you have to make decisions that are going to set you up for success. Whether that is, you're spending $300 on an IV and a couple more $100 on a hotel for a couple more days. But it's like, these are the things, because as you know, this is like ultra running. This is like anything. But once those little things add up and keep compounding, that's where things start to really spiral. And so you were just like undoing that compounding nature. And I don't know. I think it's cool. I think that's like where a lot of your experience and wisdom comes in on the trail.
Yeah. And that's where I'm grateful with all those other trails is like, I know my body. I know what I need to do in order to be successful to complete a crazy long distance trail this. It's like, it's those little moments where it's like you have to stop and slow down and just, okay, this is the situation. This is what I'm presented with. Like, what are my options? And so
that's cool.
Yeah, I felt like getting that IV was, like I said, my golden ticket to feeling better and getting back out on the trail. And I'm such a strong believer in everything happens for a reason, right? And so I remember it was like, okay, I'm going to slowly get back out on trail. And after 4 days, I got back out. The first couple days on trail, it was like, okay, this is rough, but just take it slow. Luckily, I had some Zofran with me. So I was like popping Zofran like crazy to help with the nausea, just trying to stay hydrated. I remember I packed out like a bunch of applesauce and soup that I was eating for dinner.
What is Zofran?
It's a anti-nausea medicine. Basically, you just stick it underneath your tongue and it dissolves. It is like a game changer. So it's a prescription, but I wish it wasn't because it's amazing. But I mean, once I got back on the trail, then I found a whole new group of other hikers to hike with. And it's like, you know what? If I didn't take those few days off, I wouldn't have met these amazing people and created these new memories with, it's like everything happens for a reason. So then kind of moving up the trail, it was like after that, then, this new group that I met, we ended up aqua blazing the Shenandoah River. It's like, I don't know how people feel about it, but for me, it's like, you know what? This trail is my journey and I want to hike it essentially how I want to hike it. It comes back to that whole hike your own hike, right?
What is aqua blazing? What?
Aqua blazing is basically, we canoed down the Shenandoah River.
Nice.
So it was, I think we ended up doing, how many? It was like 50 miles or so. We ended up paddling down the river. And, it's when you're thinking, oh, you're just floating down the river casually. No, we like actually put in some work. Like after the 3 days, I'm like, oh my God, my arms are sore. Like I haven't been using my arms that workout. But yeah, I was in a canoe with my friend Simple, and it happens, you hear it often, is our canoe flipped.
Yeah.
It was an absolute nightmare. But you know what? It's all about the stories that you have on the trail. And so that's definitely a moment that I will never forget, is the canoe flipping and that whole trip. Yeah. What a wild time. And then, moving forward, I'm like trying, in my brain, I'm like, okay, where am I at on the trail?
Yeah,
like,
we need the map. Where's your map?
Hold on, let me grab my map. One second.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. Just gotta get her map.
Okay, this is my map for everyone that.
Lovely.
Listen, I'm trying to remember, but I can't.
You got marks on that? What is that? Where you camped or something?
Yeah. Okay, so these big maps that I have, I like built these frames for. But my mom holds on to them while I'm hiking. And so as I'm hiking along the trail, like her, if she's watching my niece or my nephews, they'll write down basically where I was at when I called. So it's kind of their fun little way of keeping track of me on the trail.
Dude, that's cool.
So, oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, yep. Daleville, Norovirus. Okay. And then went up to Shenandoah. Got to Harper's Ferry, and I took some time off. My family flew into DC. So I was like, once again, this is my trip and my journey of the trail. How do I want to experience it? And so, I'm super grateful that my family's always so involved and so supportive of my adventures. And so the fact that they come out and meet me on the trail, and they can make a little trip of it too. And
even though Jamie might not be the coolest one in the family anymore.
No, don't you dare say that. You're gonna make his ego go. No, my brother is cool. He is, but I'm still cooler. So actually, I don't know. My 3-year-old nephew, he might be the coolest one. So today's his birthday, and he's ripping around on his little 4-wheeler, just no fear. Nice. So he might be the coolest one. Yep. So, okay, where am I at? Harper's Ferry. And then, basically spent some time alone through Maryland into Pennsylvania, and then finally met up with my friend Caleb, and then the 2 other guys, Dylan and Kai, that he was hiking with. So the 4 of us kind of became a little trail family at that point. And that's kind of when the mid-Atlantic slump hit of just, you hit that point on trail where you're like, okay, it's been a few months, all right, the kind of, I guess, honeymoon phase is worn off, and you're just like, all right, this is my life. This is what we're doing. And then Pennsylvania is known for its rocks. So the whole Rocksylvania, it is a thing. And these aren't just there's a bunch of little pebbles and rocks. These things are jagged and sharp, and they don't move. So it's you're constantly one of the things that's hard about the AT is the terrain, right? It's everything's straight up, straight down. There's no switchbacks, the whole PUDs, the pointless ups and downs. That's the whole entire trail. But what makes it challenging too is, for us being out here on the West Coast, it's you're used to these beautiful switchbacks where you can just I don't know, turn on some music, kind of mindfully just walk and just be in the moment. I feel the AT, the mental fatigue comes from you're constantly having to focus on each step of where am I walking? Where can I put my foot where I'm not going to fall or hurt myself? So Pennsylvania was really the start of that mental fatigue of constantly having to watch where I'm stepping. It was just, I'm already fighting for my life out there. And then you add in the element of the rocks.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And then to add, on top of that, there was a massive heat wave that rolled through. So temperatures were 90 to 95, and let alone like 90% humidity. It was just absolutely miserable. You hear about the humidity on the East Coast, and then to be in it day in and day out, it's like, how do people live here? This is
I know.
terrible. Terrible. Like, you wake up, I mean, you go to bed sweating, and then you wake up sweating, and your clothes don't dry. So it's like you wake up and then you put your wet, sweaty clothes back on, and it's like every morning I'd just laugh and I'm like, I can do hard things. I can do hard things, and like trying to put on my
Nice.
soaking wet clothes.
Sure.
You know, just not really how you want to start your day. But
Right.
anyway, so yeah, that's when the heat started. And then it was like, yeah, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. It was just that really hard part of the trail where like I was not enjoying myself. And I think that's where I kind of dug deep into like, I know there's these moments on trail that absolutely suck, but it's like kind of digging deep and going back to like my why. Why am I out here? Why am I doing this?
Right.
Trying to find something positive every day, right? It's like, you know, we'd sit there and joke and we're like, oh, this is terrible. We're fighting for our life. But it would always be followed up with like, but I'm so grateful to be out here. I'm so grateful to be with my trail family and create these memories. And so it was, yeah, there was a lot of shitty times, but then there's also so many positive, fun memories along.
Do you feel like the gratitude is what kept you on the trail? Because I mean, it sounds like there was a lot of turn back moments that could have happened.
So many. And you know, for me, every time I'm on a trail, it's like there is the underlying of like, I'm so grateful I get to do this, right? I have worked my ass off to get myself into the situation or to put myself on a trail. And so, and it also goes to back, like, I chose to do this. Like, this was my doing. And I always know that like after I finish a trail, you look back and you're like, was it that bad? Or was I just in the moment like being dramatic, right? No, there were definitely moments on the trail I'm like, no, it was pretty bad. Like this was rough. So, but I feel like in those moments, that's always what makes me a stronger and better hiker is when I come out the other end.
Just like Norovirus.
And also too, like I personally, like I couldn't imagine being on this trail and going through these really hard and difficult sections alone. You know, it's like that's once again where you find that comfort. It's like being able to go through these shitty moments, but to be able to experience it with other people. It's like, okay, at least we're all going through it together. And like what you're feeling is how I'm feeling, you know, and at least we can kind of validate one another. So yeah, I'm super grateful that I had my little trail family that I had through that time. Cause it's like, yeah, if I was by myself, I don't know if I would have finished the trail, to be honest. I mean, it was that just mentally difficult. So yeah.
What do you think, Jamie, if I'm curious, what if the AT was your first thru hike?
Listen, the boys that I was hiking with, I'm like, you guys, like, I can't believe this is your first thru hike. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, there's two ways to look at this, right? So my friend Caleb, for example, I'm like, you got the hardest and worst trail out of the way. Now when you go do other trails, you're going to like look back and be like, wow, it could be worse. I could be on the AT, right? So you always have this, okay, if I, you know, even for myself, I look back and I'm like, if I can hike the AT, I can hike anything. Right. I feel like it set the bar so high of like hard, difficult, challenging for me physically and mentally that when I go to do something else, I'm like, oh, it could be worse. But then also, so yeah, for them, it's like, okay, they have all these other trails to look forward to. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is so great. But for me, I don't know what's worse because I've done all of these beautiful and amazing trails that it's like in my in my mind, I was trying not to compare, right? That's one of the biggest things. Like, you can't sit there and compare all the trails because every trail is so different in its own way. So for me, it's like, I think I battled with that of this trail is so difficult and challenging versus, you know, the PCT or the CDT or trails back home. So yeah, I feel like people that do this as their first trail, it's like, I mean, the bar is high. I mean, if you can hike the AT, you can hike anything. I'll just leave it at that.
Do you think if you hiked the AT as your first trail, do you think you'd still be a triple crowner? As in, do you think
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's a great question. I mean, if you hike the AT as your first trail and you absolutely love it and you're still hiking, like, props to you. I feel like if that was my first trail, I'd definitely be like, oh my God, what is the hype? Why do people love thru hiking so much? Mm-hmm. But then again, it also goes back to, you know, after you finish a trail, right? All the time is kind of passed and set in, and you look back and you're like, was it that bad? Was it that difficult? And that's when you start to be like, oh, well, there's another trail. Maybe I'll go try that. So.
And you don't know what you don't know either. If you've never been on the West Coast hiking, you don't know the vistas or the graded trails.
Exactly. Well, and also too, I know a lot of like the first time AT hikers, you know, they all live over on the East Coast. So they're used to this type of terrain and the weather. But for me, I'm not. Like, you know, once again, the humidity, that was a whole other element and factor that like I've never experienced before. You know, we have dry heat. Where it's, you know, I'm out on a trail and I get sweaty or I get wet and I just leave my stuff out in the sun and it'll dry in 30 minutes. On the AT, you do that, nothing's drying. You're constantly wet from either the rain or your own sweat 24/7. The only way to dry out is to get a hotel room or go to a hostel. So, but I mean, that was also what was great about the AT is, you know, town is so accessible, right? It's like you could go every day into a town if you really wanted to, or every 2 days. But it was hard for me because like in the beginning, I'm like, I feel like I'm cheating. I feel like I don't deserve town. It's only been 2 days since I left. Like, what do you mean going into town already? You know, when I'm used to going, you know, 5+ days in between towns. So it was like mentally another little hurdle for me to get over of like, okay, nope, this is also the trail. Embrace it for what it is. And that is, you know, going into these towns and experiencing it. And so, yeah, that was wild, is, you know, how accessible town was. It was just like you'd hike, then there's a road. You'd hike, and there's another road. It's like, am I even out in the woods?
Totally.
So, all right, we're working up the trail. Where are we at now? Connecticut and Massachusetts, surprisingly, were like some of my favorite parts of the trail. Like New England, I've never been over. Once again, it is like the cutest area. Like, I mean, granted, they're not cheap, but the towns are a little bit more expensive, but it was so cute. I remember some of the little like cafes we'd go in and get coffee and breakfast, like absolutely amazing food. And then getting up into Vermont. So I had all the intentions of, you know, I'm out on the long trail. I might as well just do the whole thing.
I remember this.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, you know, in my brain when I started the trail, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to cross 2 trails off. I'm also going to do the long trail while I'm out there. You know, what's an extra 170 miles or so? But once I think it was around like Pennsylvania, it started when I was kind of in that mid-Atlantic slump of just like mentally fighting for my life.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not doing it.
I just got to finish this trail first. For
exactly.
real.
I'm like, I need to get through this first, because if I couldn't even fathom spending an extra 2 weeks out on the trail. Like, I kind of just got to the point where it was like, I'm not rushing to get done with the trail, but I definitely like want to get it done. So yeah, once I hit Vermont, it was like, yeah, that's a cute idea, but I thought I was going to do that. I mean, I know there's a lot of hikers that did end up doing the long trail. And also, too, it's like, I just didn't want to be on the long trail and let's say I got injured, right? And that basically ended my through hike
Oh, it
of
sucked.
the AT
Oh,
and, finishing my Triple Crown. It's like, so I kind of, made the decision of like, I'll come back and do it.
Right.
It's one of those things where I'm like, I can't only do half of a trail.
Right.
So that's where I'm at. It's like, you know what? I'll go back maybe in a different time of the year, maybe in the fall, kind of be in that area. So yeah, I had every intentions, thought process of doing the long trail, but that didn't happen. And then, going up into New Hampshire. My God. Have you ever done any hiking in the Whites?
I've heard of them, and I know that they're pretty robust. I don't know if that's the right word.
It was so freaking hard. Like, and I will be the first to say that, it was so difficult. Like, just, I thought the straight ups and downs were bad in the beginning, but this like took it to a whole other level of like, there were days where you're straight up rock climbing. Like Caleb and I would laugh and joke, and I'm like, hey, did you bring the chalk today? Because we were like full on like climbing up these rocks and grabbing onto tree branches. And it was just like, there were so many times a day where you'd be hiking along and you just look straight up and you see the white blazes. And every time I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, are you kidding me right now? This is the trail? And it got to the point where it was like, it just felt like a joke. Like, it was, I mean, absolutely wild.
You just had to laugh at some points, I'm sure.
I mean, that's all you could do at that point, was just like, I have to laugh because it's so miserable and so difficult. But yeah, I mean, we did 10 miles a day, and that basically took us all day. It was just, the uphills were slow and long, and even on the flat spots where it's like you can't move quickly through this stuff, like there's just boulders and rocks and tree roots, and so it's like there's no way you're keeping a 3-mile-an-hour pace.
Sure.
I mean, I was probably doing 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles at the fastest. And so it also was a point on the trail where I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to like rush this. I'm not going to push myself so hard where I'm, miserable. And because like, I know these are some of the most beautiful parts of the trail. Like, I want to be able to enjoy myself. And so it's like, you know what? Those are the moments when you slow down a little bit, take the time. And I'm glad we did. But I know once we got out of the Whites and kind of went into southern Maine, we didn't really take too much time off. It was like, I think we finished the Whites, went into Gorham, spent the night, and then back out. So didn't even take a full 0. And my body was tired. But also you're like that so close to finishing. Like, you're into Maine, the final state. It's like, let's just keep going. And I know southern Maine is just as difficult. I mean, you're finishing up New Hampshire, you're going through the Mahoosic Notch. Do you know anything about that?
No, nothing. I know nothing about the AT. So
okay.
This has been great, and not that I was ever gonna hike the AT, but I probably will never even go to the East Coast. Probably never get within like 500 miles of the East Coast. So it's like, I'm good, dog.
I know. I remember, I think I was posting something on my stories and someone goes, is this like a real life horror movie? And I'm like, basically, like, so many things happened to me on that trail. It was like, yeah, I mean, one, not to get off subject here, but, I got norovirus. I got stung 8 times. I can't even remember the last time I got stung by a bee. Probably like in my childhood, like running around the grass, like stepping on a bee. But I got stung 8 times out there.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And each time it was, so the first time I got stung, it was right before the roller coaster in Virginia. And it was 3 times. I got stung on my arm and then 1 on each ankle. And what happens is like, you have the, like the planks of wood on the ground. And then especially when they're rotted out, like these bees go up and create the nest. And so I'm like headphones in, just walking along, and all of a sudden it's like screaming and yelling, like needles going through me. And yeah, so I did that twice. Just walking along. And so every time I'd see like the planks of wood, like I had this like PTSD of there's bees under all of them.
Sure.
So, but anyways, what was I saying?
Maine. You were at Maine.
Sorry,
Well, before you were at Maine and you were close,
Maine,
but
okay.
your body was tired.
Yeah, lost my train of thought. But finishing up New Hampshire, you go through like the Mahoosic Notch, which is basically like this gully of like massive boulders, right? And so it's like you just kind of create your own route. Like you either can go up and over or through the rocks. It's just like a very slow mile, 2 miles. But I hit my breaking point of just when I get tired, I get really emotional. And so once we finished the Whites and we like hopped over, finished New Hampshire into Maine, it was just a very long day crossing into Maine because it's like we just wanted to get to the border. That way we could like camp, wake up, we're in Maine. But I know that was a very long and difficult day. And then I just didn't sleep well that night. And so I woke up and it was just like, I'm already tired. I just got my ass kicked in the Whites. And you know how there's always like one little thing that'll just like set you over the edge, right? It's like, you know, we'd always joke on the trail, like what would set you over the edge? Would that be, you know, you tripping, you kicking a rock, like playing soccer with a rock, you know, and it hits your ankle bone, or you drop your trekking pole. Like, what are those little things that like just set you over the edge, right? For me, it was like I had this little blister on my heel, and it was just annoying me. So I sat down and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put a Band-Aid over it. But my feet were sweating so bad. Like the Band-Aid wasn't sticking. My Leuko tape wasn't sticking. Like nothing was working. So it was like, I sat down trying to fix it and I just lost it. I'm like, this tiny little blister was basically my breaking point of just like,
interesting.
I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted physically, mentally. Like I'm just, yeah, I had a moment where I just lost it. And my hiking partner, Caleb, like I remember, luckily we had cell phone service. And I think I texted him like, hey, like I'm not doing well right now. Like I just need a moment. And he waited for me, which I'm super grateful for. But once again, going back to like knowing yourself, knowing your body, right? Of in that moment, I knew I needed sleep. I knew I needed just a day just to rest and like regroup. And so that was also the day that we were going through the Mahoosic Notch. And like before you go up the arm, it's basically like the last like crazy, terrible, steep climb. And so, yeah, it was just that moment of like, hey, I'm not doing well. Like I'm going to set up camp. I think it was like 2:30 in the afternoon, maybe 3:00. And it was like, I'm going to set up my tent. I'm just going to lay here. I'm going to get some rest. Like if you want to continue on, I'll catch you in the morning. And that's basically what happened is, yeah, I just took that time, actually fell asleep for, I don't know, I think I was out for like 12 hours. I was so tired. Got up and it was like, I was like a whole new person.
Dude,
So
totally.
it's just,
wow. Okay.
really just listen to your body.
Right.
You know?
That's a huge, people need to listen to that again because I think that's really, really important because you always hear and you always feel guilty if you're not pushing yourself and you're not on the grind. And there's always in social media, people are just grind through it. And you can't, I mean, that's what you were doing for this whole trail, right? But then it finally got to that breaking point. But you were smart enough to realize I just need a quick reset and everything will be fine again. And man, I tell you what, sleep is that reset. Because if you, that's my challenge on trails is bad sleep. And I just, you see your mood just keep going down. And if you keep getting worse sleep, and it's just this spiral. So kudos to you for realizing that and knowing your body, because I think, you know, that could be the reason why some people quit stuff like that is they'll grind through, but then finally it's just now it's gone. Like they don't have that mental capacity to think, okay, I just need a reset. Here's what I'm going to do. So that could have saved your hike. Although you were real close to the finish. I couldn't see you stopping,
listen,
but you know what I mean?
I was going to be crawling to that finish line.
For sure.
But I mean, it goes back to the whole saying of like, yeah, you don't quit on a bad day, because if I were to quit in that moment, I'd look back and be like, oh my gosh, it was just a moment. It's, once again, don't quit on a bad day.
That's so
just
good.
Do what you need to do to get yourself through. And so for me, I was like, listen, I just need to set up camp. I need to just lay in my tent. I need to watch a movie. I need to go to bed early. I'll be ready to go the next morning. So,
dude, that's so good.
It all worked out.
Yeah, that's the quote.
So,
yeah, don't quit on a bad day.
And then it was the holy shit. We're in Maine. We're so close. Like this is happening. And that's when like kind of the trail, it starts to set in of like, oh my God, I just walked here. Like what I battled, what I went through on this trail is all leading up to this like final moment. Right. And so Maine was just absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's definitely difficult still. I mean, you still get the ups and the downs, but you get those beautiful views when you get to the top. And then, it was just like getting closer and closer to the end. And then you get to like the 100-mile wilderness and you're like, oh my gosh, you start to see Katahdin for the first time. And it's like, once you start to get that little glimpse of like, there's the finish line, it's like, oh my God, this is happening. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. And this is essentially the goal that I've been working towards for the last, 4.5 months. Mm-hmm. And so, that's when kind of the planning started of like, when do we want to finish? Kind of setting those goals for ourselves and, planning with my sister and my 2 friends to come out to meet me at basically the finish line up at Katahdin. So we came up with the date of September 1st, which was very realistic mileage-wise for us to do. I think we took maybe 1 0 and a couple Neros in between that time. But September 1st was kind of like a special day. It was also the day that I finished the PCT. So it was like, what a cool moment to like, I finished my first long distance trail on September 1st, and now I'm going to basically wrap up my Triple Crown on September 1st. And getting up to Katahdin and having my little sister there, like to give me my crown, like it was just a very emotional, like special moment. Not only for me, but like for her as well. Like she's been so supportive of all the trails and all the hiking that I've done. She's definitely one where she was kind of a one and done, like, hey, I did the PCT, I don't need to do anymore. And I'm the opposite, where I'm like, I'm going to do them all. And so, it was very special to have her and, my other 2 friends up there to kind of share that moment with. But I mean, talk about a finish of, I feel like all the trails, every monument has like, is special, right? In their own way. But like to finish your Triple Crown on top of Mount Katahdin, I'm like, it just will always hold like a special place in my heart. I'm just like, you feel like you're on top of the world, especially when you get a beautiful clear day up there and you can see, it's just like, holy shit, I did it. So I'm grateful that I was able to be successful, not only on one trail, but like all 3. I know how many people only end up doing one trail or smaller trails, but like the fact that I was physically and mentally able to do all 3, like I am beyond grateful for like the opportunity that I got to do these trails, but also like the hard work that I put in for myself physically and mentally to achieve this goal. So it's been a process. I mean, I don't think I've really fully processed or comprehend like completing such a epic goal and achievement. And I'm grateful. So grateful.
What did it feel different? How did it feel what differences were there finishing the AT versus the other trails for you? Because number one, it was your toughest trail, sounds like, but it was also Triple Crown completion?
I don't like, there's so many emotions that were like going through my mind when I was like walking up, and like you can see the sign as you're walking up the approach. It's like you can see it right there. It was just like nervous, excitement, like holy shit, I did it. And that's where, like I said, I feel like I'm having a hard time still processing like completing this massive goal, of it wasn't something that I thought I was going to be able to do. Just, when you finish one trail, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't even fathom doing the other two. And then all of a sudden it's this idea creeps back in of like, well, maybe I could do another. And then you either do 1 or 3 trails. You can't just do 2, So, I don't know. I think I was just very proud of myself too, of like, I set out to do this thing and I accomplished it. I did it for me. And one, it's like, I'm the best version of myself when I'm out on these trails. Like, I'm so happy. Granted, yes, there's terrible, miserable times, but like looking back, I'm like, those are the moments that like build character, right? Of
Always.
who you are and stories to tell. And yeah, it's a very, I don't know if I can describe the feeling of what it's like until like you're out there, you're in it. It's just like this very overwhelming feeling of accomplishment, but also like, thank God I get to go home. So that was also a moment of like, oh, I get to go home. I get to put on like my cozy clothes. I get to curl up on my couch in my fuzzy blankets. Like, I get to be comfortable, because like the last 5 months I was so uncomfortable 24/7. So yeah. Would I go do it again? Absolutely not.
Well, okay, but what section of trail would you do it again? There's got to be something.
Oh God. Well, like I said, I'm going to go back and do the long trail. So I will be out in Vermont. But looking back, I would probably go back to some areas of Virginia. And maybe like back through like Massachusetts area too. Just all the little cute towns and everything. Like, it would have been cool to go explore and spend some more time through those areas. But yeah, I mean, Maine, there'd be cool parts of Maine that I would like to go back maybe and do, but yeah, I don't know. I definitely would not do the trail again as a whole. I mean, PCT, CDT, absolutely. I will go back and do those trails for sure. But like AT, I'm good. One and done.
I'm good, dog. Huh. Okay.
So,
well, dude, this was a great recap. I mean, first of all, you made my job real easy, because I only asked a couple questions.
I know.
And Jamie rolled with it. I love that. That is my favorite.
You wanted an easy day? I'll give you an easy day.
That's exactly, yes. I love guests like that. So you absolutely crushed that.
Thank you.
I want to know, kind of as a more closing question here. So you've done how many miles now total with all these? It's like,
I don't know. Probably, I don't know if I'm quite at 10,000.
Okay.
But I would say I'm getting close.
So a lot of miles. So what is a question that you are tired of being asked about hiking or through hiking? And then what is a question you wish people would ask instead? I'm kind of putting you on the spot a little bit.
Oh God, I don't like these.
Hey, look, it's just one. It's just one, right? So one that you're like, I am so sick of being asked this asked all the time. And one that you're like, hey, I would rather discuss something like this.
I think as like a female, you always get asked like, oh, do you carry a gun?
That's good, yeah.
Do you carry some sort of weapon? And it's like, no, I don't. Instead of like giving this whole reason, excuse why not to, I just say I'm uncomfortable. And which that is the truth. Like, I'm uncomfortable. But it's like, yeah, you always want to be safe, right? And so that's kind of the one question where it's like, oh my gosh, you're out there by yourself. Like, do you have any sort of protection? And looking back on all the trails, so this AT, I actually carried a little taser with me. It
Nice.
didn't weigh anything.
Really?
And I had it just right on my hip belt for a while. Very lightweight. It was more of just like a noise, right? Of like, hey, if someone approaches me and I'm in a comfortable situation, you know, at least I have the noise of the taser to be like, back the fuck off. Like, and then on the CDT, I had a really cool knife that kind of just clipped onto my hip belt. And then also, of course, when you're in bear country, you have bear spray. I'm like, bear spray is the best thing that you could use to protect yourself from animals or men, essentially, on the trails. So yeah, I had the bear spray, and then the PCT didn't have anything. One, it was like I was always with my little sister, and you know, you're constantly around different groups of people. I rarely found myself, I mean, even on the AT, I was never alone. Like, there was always people out there. So yeah, I'm kind of annoyed of just like always getting asked, well, like, do you carry a gun? What protection? Which are valid questions. And what I wish someone would ask. Oh man. I don't know. I always love talking about gear. So like when
Interesting.
people like ask
know
questions
that.
about gear, it's like, I don't know. I just love
I didn't
talking
know
about
that.
it.
I didn't know that. We should maybe we should do a follow-up episode
We could do
sometime
a
on gear.
gear Q&A.
Interesting. Yeah, that would be kind of fun. Yeah.
Only because I feel like I've worked really hard over the years to like dial in my gear, you know, and it's the questions that I do get asked is like, you know, certain gear questions, which, hey, I'm happy to share what works for me. Once again, my gear might not work for you, but here's at least a starting point and a baseline like you could go off of.
Interesting.
I mean, I don't want to get too much into it. We could maybe do a follow-up, but
Yeah.
starting the PCT, it's like my gear, you know, I started with a 65-liter Osprey pack. I had no idea what I was doing. And so basically I'm glad that I had that trail and those moments of like, wow, I don't want to say shitty gear, but like gear I didn't really know what worked and what didn't work for me until I started hiking, right? And I just figured it out. And so over the years, it's been like this fun progression of like, okay, this works for me, that doesn't work for me. And then I kind of like dive into the specifics of certain gear. And, you know, it also goes back to like, I know myself. I know what I like to use. I know what works best for me. And so, yeah, I always love when people have questions about gear and
Interesting.
I can just go on forever about it.
Jamie,
So,
we might need to do a follow-up episode. That'd be kind of fun, especially. Well, I don't know if you want can we say the AZ?
we can, yeah, sure.
Yeah, Jamie's doing the AZT. I might do the AZT.
I'm trying to convince him to hop out on trail. I mean, when's the last time you did a longer trail?
Long time, man. 2021.
Okay, you're due.
Yeah, I know. And because I like, you know, it's inspiring listening to you talk about, you know, when you get to the end at Katahdin and you're like, I did it type of thing, right? Because the longest I've done is 500 in a clip. And that was good for me. I was like, I'm good, dog. I like doing, I mean, I love outdoor stuff, but for me, it started to just seem like a job at that point. And I was like, it's all right. But I think 800 would be a good test piece to see, to get over that.
Yeah. Well, and also, too, I feel like it's been long enough
Totally.
since you've done a trail, right? You might get out there and be like, oh my God, I love this. This is what I was missing. This is what I needed, right?
100%.
Physically, mentally. You also get to push yourself in a different way that maybe you haven't pushed yourself in a while. And so it might be that good little like start to the 2026 of, I went out and I just walked 800 miles through the desert. Hell yeah.
I know. I totally agree. And it's because, you know, I think my challenge in the recent years has been mostly on my business, right? Or like going out on your own type of thing. I was like, that's kind of been my biggest challenge. But I need to get back in to some thru hike. It sounds fun. She's
I think you need it physically and mentally. You need something to look forward to. I mean, I definitely know I'm that person of like, yes, once I finish a trail, like of course I'm going to be thinking about what's next. That's always the fun question people always ask. They're like, okay, well now what's next? There's always going to be something, but I'm the type of person where I need to have something planned. I need to
Totally.
have something to look forward to kind of get me out of that like post-depression spiral
Totally.
that usually happens. So
Very true.
yeah, I mean, I think it'll be fun. It'll be a good little like for me too to like kind of cleanse the palate of the hard, difficult, like very challenging trail that I just did into. I mean, every trail's challenging, right? I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but it'll be different. So
Well, it's almost the complete opposite. Because you were in a green tunnel, wet, foggy, humid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally, you could not be almost any more opposite.
maybe that's why I want to do it even more.
Oh, for
because
sure.
it's the
I would
complete
imagine.
opposite.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
So
All right. Jamie
Yeah.
Lambert, everybody. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Everybody,
thank you.
everybody loves listening to you. And yeah, thanks for coming on. We'll do a gear episode. I think it would be fun to do a gear Q&A. Jamie Lambert. I'm not that big into gear, but this might be helpful for me actually before the AZT. We should.
Oh,
This will be
there we
fun.
go.
This will be fun.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, leave a comment below, guys, if you want to hear Jamie's take, a triple crowner's take on gear.